In the Liquitex ranges, we have what we refer to as suggested primaries. These are going to be the primary colors that will give you the best secondary mixes. So let's take a look at what they are and their characteristics. We have yellow medium azo. There's two things that I want to point out with this. It's a single pigment, so it's PY 74, pigment yellow 74, and it's semi-transparent. And then we have our phthalo blue red shade. Now, I should point this out too. This is our soft body range and this is our heavy body range, two different viscosities, but any of the Liquitex products can be mixed together, so there's no issue with intermixing those. And if we look at phthalo blue red shade, we see once again, it's a single pigment. It's PB, pigment blue, 15, and :6 because it's red shade. That means it moves towards a warmer blue. And that's going to be a transparent color as well. And then finally, our third, we have quinacridone crimson, PV 19. So again, a single pigment, and it's going to be a transparent color as well. So why do I mention that bit about single pigment and two transparent colors and one semi-transparent color? Well, I want you to think about if we had 3 colors that each had 2 pigments in there, we'd have 6 pigments. And in mixing those together, the more colors that you have, you all know as artists that sometimes you get muddier mixes. So we want to avoid that. So single pigment colors will give us the best secondary colors. And we get cleaner mixes with our transparent colors. Now, a different situation would be, let's take a look at, and these are both in the heavy body range, we have cadmium red medium. It is single pigment, it's PR 108, but it is an opaque color. And it's a red that moves warmer than our quinacridone, which goes a little bit more blue. And then we have our cobalt blue here, also a single pigment, but once again, opaque. And this moves a little bit cooler than our phthalo blue. So let's mix to see how that plays out. And I want to mix the cadmium red medium and cobalt blue. And once again, it's a red and a blue, so it is a primary color. There's, of course, we can mix those and we can get a violet, but how does that play out? So let's take a little bit of it, and we'll take our blue, and we'll take our cadmium red medium, and we'll mix those two things together. Now that red is quite strong, so I think I'm gonna have to put a little bit more blue in the mix. So I'm just gonna take a bit of that here, and I think I'll bring all of that blue in there. So when we mix this, we look at this right now, and we're definitely not getting a clean secondary mix. That cobalt and that cadmium, which are both metals, tend to not make these really clean mixes, and the fact that they're opaque as well. There is a bit of a violet hue to it though, and we can see that if we put some of that color over here, and we'll take a little bit of titanium white and mix that. And you can see it's very grayed out, but it does have a slight violet hue, but again, not the secondary color we want to look for. So what happens now when we use our quinacridone crimson and our phthalo blue red shade? So the crimson is, again, a cooler red. It's moving towards blue, and the phthalo blue red shade is, of course, red shade moving towards red. So they're working together to make a violet. So let's take this. Now we know phthalo blues, and if you're not aware of that, phthalo blues, whenever you see phthalocyanine, those are really strong staining colors. So I'm going to use very little of that. Put that off to the side, and then we'll come back in with our quinacridone crimson. We'll use more of that, maybe about twice the amount. And we'll mix that together. And then to bring that out, let's mix our white in again. So we're taking titanium white. Now I'll just take a little bit of that, just to bring out the violet. And yeah, that's a much cleaner violet. And let's take a look at that next to what we have here from you can actually even see here with our cadmium red medium and our cobalt blue mixture here with white, that even looks more gray when we have this violet next to it. And actually an interesting thing with color mixing, we've got, and I didn't even plan to do this, but we've got this violet here and we've got it next to our azo yellow medium, which of course is the complementary color to violet. It's making it even seem more violet. So we've got an interesting relationship that happens next to this very gray looking color and next to the yellow. This really pops right here. So it shows you how relative colors are. But once again, You want to know what those suggested primaries are if you're looking for the cleanest secondary mixes, and you can find more of that information on liquitex.com.